Good evening. Today is Thursday, October 11th, 2018. This is the monthly meeting of the RDC, or Beech Grove Redevelopment Commission. I'd ask our members to introduce themselves, starting to my right.
Tara Wolf.
Kathy Chappell, Secretary.
Ron Moat, Vice President.
Mark Rim.
And I am Donald Wood, the President. Our first order of business will be to review and approve September's meeting minutes. I'd ask if there are any additions, corrections, or if people are happy, I'd ask for a motion to approve those minutes.
I make said motion.
I'd ask for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Next thing we'd have would be the bills. We have a light bills this month. Tim Showalter, $225, and Beech Grove Sewage Works, $18.75. Those two, I will ask the board to make a motion on paying.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then the next one is Crossroads Engineers, which Tara will, because of conflict of interest, will not vote on, but I'd ask for that approval of $5,700.
I
I
make
make
a motion.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that handles the bills. Trent, do you want to go?
Good evening. Trent Newport with Crossroad Engineers. Here to talk about the Franciscan Trail Project. I know we've been here several times to give you updates, and we were here, oh, I guess it'd probably been 2 years ago with our original contract to get started on the project. And at that time, I don't know how many of you remember the details of that. Some of you are new since then, but we had that contract, and we said we will be coming at a later time with a contract for the right-of-way services and an estimate of what the land cost would be should you have to pay for easements for the project. We did not know what that budget was until we got to the point where we could narrow down the easements, figure out where they are, and put an estimate of the value to them. So that's the stage that we're at now. I understand that I got to you a little bit late before you were setting your budget for 19, which is, I apologize for that. Like I said, just in the process of the design and nailing down those easement lines, we just did not have them until now. But what I presented, I brought forth to the mayor and talked to him about it. Basically, this would be, we would go to the Board of Works with a supplemental contract to our first one for the right-of-way services. So there's two components to this. One is the right-of-way services, which pays for appraising and buying services for those easements. And then the other one is the actual land values, and we don't actually bring a contract to you for that because you actually pay the landowners, or the city does, directly. However, we are going to certainly approach all the owners about donating easements, and should they be willing to do that, then all those costs, or whatever costs we can get donated, would be saved. In addition, we would underrun on the services contract because there are functions within that if you have donations, we don't have to do. We don't have to appraise the land if somebody's going to donate it, especially in this case where they are easements. So just to be clear, we are not actually obtaining full land rights for the path. We're doing it via easements, and that's consistent with what we've done in the past with the school, and we'll do with the school on this project. So what I'm bringing forward today is an increase to the budget, and then this is in line with the supplemental that I'll bring to the Board of Works on November 5th. The supplemental is $64,420. It's my understanding that would be split 50-50 between the city and the RDC, which the half of that would be $32,210. And that would be adding to the 2019 budget, but again, you may not spend all of that because of the reasons that I just mentioned. Furthermore, we're not budgeting any of the land costs right now because I think by the time we get into the appraising and buying and so forth, if they're not donated, those checks we can write, we can push those off to 2020 and put that into the 2020 budget, which would be the last year of the design phase. Clear as mud.
Yeah.
Be happy to answer any questions. I should have said we have 10 parcels, 10 easements of land. if you're familiar, if you remember the layout of the trail, a lot of this is on city property, you know, through Sarah Bolton Park, and down along the city-owned property along the creek. But then we go into the neighborhood where we go along parallel with the road, and then we cross Ninth, and then we're across the school property, and then it's that east end where we have some easements to get from the east end of the school property over to Emerson. We go through basically private ground from there over, including along the private road that is right there at the signal at Hornet Avenue. That's all, that's actually a private road, and so that would require an easement as well. So there's those 10 parcels, except for the common area in the subdivision, the other 9 parcels are all at that east end. We'll do our best to get donations, as many of them as we can.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You want to go ahead, Mr. Mayor?
What's that?
I was asking just the mayor if he'd want to speak.
On that, no.
Okay. Well,
I
you,
just asked you to approve it.
oh, yeah, I figured. So basically, we budgeted 64,000, I want to say 300 or 400, or maybe, I don't remember the exact number, I'll have to look it up, but, we're gonna have to add another 32,000 to cover that for next year, which we've got more than enough money to do that, so. If nobody has any issues with that, I'll just amend the budget when we present it next month. If that's okay with all of you.
Sure.
I should say that I can, you know, we'll know as we go through the year, say in the first quarter, into the first quarter, into the second quarter, kind of where we're at with those land costs for the 2020. I don't know when you set your budgets, is it?
It's not, we just have to send a budget to, basically, we give a report, we have to give an annual report and ask the city council basically to approve what we're spending. And is it exactly what we're spending? No, but it's more, I'd call it a budget, but I'd also call it more strongly of a guideline. Like if something comes up, we have spent money, you know, that wasn't in that budget per se. It hasn't been a huge thing, but a prime example, one year we had security cameras come up at the park, and that wasn't in the budget, but we went ahead and spent the money and did that, you
Okay.
know, so.
So just so I can stay ahead of it this year, I don't make the same mistake. When about do you try to do that? Is it in the summertime or early fall?
We typically, I mentioned it last month, I had Jeff Peters draw it up, I emailed everybody a copy of it, and then next month I'll have the mayor print, or give the city council our report and our budget, and that'll be it.
So if we know if we give you an update by July, August with where we're at with
That'd be
those
fine. I
costs, we
mean,
should
we've
get ahead
got-
of the 2020 budget then without any issue?
Should be, I mean,
Okay.
like I say, we've been pretty good about not spending money, so we should be okay on that. I mean, our goal from when we started on this, 4 or 5 years ago,
Yeah.
was to get this thing to where it is now, so.
Yeah. Well, I'll plan on coming back probably sometime towards the end of the first quarter with an update of where we're at with those services and donations, and then can be able to start talking about where we're at for any budget changes that you would need for 2020. Because I know I gave you the spreadsheet.
Right.
But again, that did not include these items. Thank you.
Thanks.
You wanna do a mayor's report?
Sure.
They're putting a road in, if you drive over to the hospital property, in the back of the parking garage, you'll see a road going from Buffalo up to the parking garage. That's for their employees and for the service. So that's taking place now. Other than that, I haven't heard anything on the property itself. I spoke to him the other day, but not about that subject. The Thompson Road project it's already been moved up to 2021. Indianapolis is going to redo that road sometime from Emerson to the curve, sometime between next year and 2022. that's a marked improvement because this summer there was no plan to do anything to that road. So that's a big improvement. I was met with them yesterday. The roundabout, the RFP for inspection was advertised, and I think, did you get one? It was due by the 13th of November. So to hire a inspector firm for that project. And there's a public hearing on the roundabout project at Hornet Park on November 13th at 7 o'clock. So that is gearing up fast. And as Trent talked about the buying right-of-ways and easements for the Greenway, this project, we have to purchase 6 parcels. So the board approved it at their last meeting, so we're in that process right now. I was just going to remind you about the RDC budget. The council meeting is the 5th of November, so Don, if you, about a week before, if you could ship that over to me, I'll
Yes,
put it
sir.
on the agenda. CSX, a company that is interested in purchasing it, has signed a letter of intent for the property. Now CSX has hired a firm to do some environmental cleanup over there. So that's starting to move a little bit. It won't really kick in until probably the first of the year, but that's coming. And then we have a shredding event November 3rd over here behind the building, and a veteran service on November 11th at 1 o'clock on the steps of City Hall. So that's about it. So any questions? Cool.
White night. Okay, so I guess on the budget, we will change the Greenway work from 65 to 92, and then I can adjust those numbers, and then I'll send out a final copy to everyone just to make sure they're happy with it. The other thing we have to do is we have to do a monthly, or not a month, a yearly report, and I sent you guys that. I didn't know if anybody had any questions, concerns, or comments. But if you guys are good with that, that's what I will present to the city council as far as what we did for 2018 and what we're looking at for 2019.
My only comment to that was, could we divide that list up and divide and conquer maybe, so we meet those goals?
It's a possibility. I don't mind. I mean, the more we have helping, the easier it is for sure. And I mean, to look at our goals, I don't think they're outrageous. We talk about the signage and the greenway. Those are some things we committed to. And, we've also talked about doing a community meeting because we do, I don't want to say, we're basically 2 years, but 3 years away from having our bonds paid off. And, we need to start looking about what we want the vision of the city to be for the next 10 years. Because these TIFs all expire in 2030. And, so we need to figure out what we want to do, where we see the vision of the city going. So I think having a meeting next year would be something that would be worthwhile, like we did that one time. I think it'd be a good idea to throw around some ideas and see where our focus should be. But, obviously that'll take a little bit of work, so.
The city, the Redevelopment Commission, the Civil City of Beech Grove, and Sewage Works will all have no long-term debt after the end of 22. Be paid off.
Good thing. That's had to help us.
From when we started.
It's gotta help us as far as the circuit breaker and all that stuff goes, I'd assume. I really don't have a lot. Like I say, I've done what we needed to do, but I've just been super busy, so, anybody have anything else?
Nothing.
What was on the list before signage and greenway? Was there something else you mentioned that I didn't My
I got it.
recorder's full, it won't take any more.
I understand. Let's see, we had build the signage for the Emerson interchange. We've committed 44,000 to that. That's just to cover the cost now.
Right.
The actual building will be more, and, you know, I'd like to do it next year, but we'll have to see if the CSX opportunity puts pressure on us. It may get pushed off, but we committed the initial design and development of that, which, you know, I was out this weekend and I saw a couple other interchanges, and I think it's gonna really help the city. We had the Greenway, and I put at least, and it's something I went to a couple of them, but to have at least one RDC member, go to those, Beech Grove community-based meetings. I don't know if they're still having those or not.
Yeah, we have, our next meeting is, next Tuesday at 7 o'clock downstairs in.
And that might be one where maybe if we each take a month, there's what, 4 of us, 2, 4, 5. We each take a month, that'd mean 2 of us would have, you know, 2 meetings, or 2 would have 3 meetings, the rest of us would have 2 meetings. So that might be where we could all agree maybe to pick a month. We could work on that, you know, assuming we're back next year, you know, but that's something for next year that in January I'd say, okay, because I do think it's important that at least one of us go there and share what's going on, so.
It's called a community-based initiative, and what we're doing, we're developing a comprehensive plan for the city, and, it's about 10 it's been a very long process. And there's about 10 chapters to it, 10 phases. And next Tuesday, we'll complete the 6th phase. So we're getting there. And this just comes down to 2 questions. What do you want your city to look like, and where do you want to go as a city?
Right. And then the other one I had, which ties in, to work with the schools and be supportive of them, that was number 5. And then number 6 was provide Greenway update meetings in 2019 to meet the requirements. So I know we have to have, what, 1 a quarter public meeting?
Yeah, there's not an actually requirement for it, but we said we were gonna try to do updates. I don't know that it was gonna be every quarter, but I think if we can get people to come and get engaged in it, it would be worth it. And so, you know, I think that's a good plan, especially to be closer to construction.
Right. Then, is there any chance, it's 2021, right? Is the construction phase?
Keep in mind, July 1st starts a new
Right.
PennDOT year. So,
It's July of 2020.
yeah,
It's July of 2020 is when the project would be, go to.
But I'm saying construction would go to would go in 2021, right?
It would go over into 21, but you would start.
start in
20.
2020.
Okay, so
It's coming.
we're less than 2 years away. Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure of.
Yeah, we're basically a year and a half away, or close, yeah.
Right, because again, it's just important we get across that finish line, so that's what I thought. I just couldn't remember. I couldn't remember if it was 21 or we could move it back to 20, but yeah, okay. What do you think how long do you think it would take for construction on that?
We haven't fully vetted that out, but just to give you a ballpark, I think that there's some places they could get started in the fall, and then they would probably not get a lot done during the
Winter, yeah.
months. And then I think it would take probably through the end of the summer to finish it up, as long as the project is. In the fall, they could start with some of the bridges and do some of the concrete work, but, you know, whether or not they get a piece of it, you know, they might get a piece through
Right.
one of the parks done or one end of it done, and then can.
Well, even Carrington, because Carrington's pretty wide open, you should be able to probably put that part in pretty quick, I think.
Yeah. So we haven't kind of sat down and gone through the phasing of what we would do.
Right.
It's something that we'll go. But I would say with the winter months being there, it's a year-long project at a minimum.
Well, I'll tell you, I live in Carrington, that's where I know it. When, they have their homeowners meeting, they're supposed to have it in February, but I think they have it in early March. I might get a hold of you then if you have some slides, or see if you could even show up and present at that. They don't have a lot that show up, but,
I would love to.
right. So I'll keep you in mind on that, just to let you know, it's,
That'd be perfect.
I wanna say it's like the first Tuesday in March, so I think that's a big group that we could show to and just keep people in the loop, so,
That would be perfect. Whenever you have that date, let me know. I'll go ahead and get it on my calendar.
okay.
Trent, did you speak to a lady, not the homeowners association president, but another neighbor at Carson's Farms? Do you remember speaking with her at your office? Has anybody come in to talk to you?
Yes.
They came in.
I don't know that it was me, but I do know.
Oh, somebody came in?
Was she the same one that was at the public? So I think she was at the last
She's
meeting.
come in
here, too.
twice.
Well, then the last time I spoke to her, which was a few weeks ago, she said she did not go to Crossroads and talk to him, but somebody else in the neighborhood did.
Yeah, like I said, it wasn't me, I don't think, but I know somebody came in. But, the venue of going to their meeting where they're there and hopefully it can, I know you said you don't always get a great turnout, but maybe you can announce that, hey, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Can get more of them who have questions or concerns there to where we can try to address them.
Dennis, do you know if the lady that was here, if she was the president, is she asking for a meeting at their homeowners association meeting?
I don't know. She came in with a gentleman. I don't know.
If you have contact information for who that is, I would be happy to reach out to them and go to their meeting as well.
Well, unless things have changed, the lady that was here at our meeting is putting her house up for sale. But I don't know.
I'll comment after the meeting.
Whoever's on the HOA of that subdivision, I think both of those would be the two key ones we want to try to go to and present if we could.
Yeah, I'm
I'll
hoping
bet-
she changes her mind. We're a ways off, so that may not happen. but-
I'll reach out to our homeowners and send them an email to let them know that when we have our meeting that, we'd like to come and present on the updates on the Greenway construction and all that, and if they're concerned, they can show up.
Yeah, I think it's a good
I'll be
idea.
going to the school as well because we're crossing their grounds, but I already did once, but I'll be going to them sometime in 19, for an update as well. They already took a vote and approved in concept the
Right.
project.
Very good. Anybody have anything else?
Just one more comment. Dennis, do you think that he should attempt to reach this person? Reach out to her about talking to the homeowners, or is that,
If it's the same person, we've already spoke to her twice.
you say we have, you mean you and Crossroads together, or?
Spoke with her here at a meeting, and then she came down into the office and I spoke with her privately.
Okay.
No, might not be the same person.
I'm looking for her email address. Would you know her name if I had it in here? Okay. But the lady, I went to her house is the same lady that was here at the one meeting, and she said she was president of the homeowners association.
For Carson Farms,
Yes.
don't know.
And I went over there and took some pictures of the area, and she's the one that thought that all that property in the back by the creek where this is going to be, she was told when she bought her house that was owned by the homeowners association.
That
Remember?
is owned by the city.
Right, well, she knows that now.
Yeah, because we were looking at buying in there, if you looked at the plat map, it stopped about 75 to 100 feet from the creek. In other words, here's your property line, and then there was, say, from where we are to the window till you got to the creek. And that was all floodplain owned by somebody else.
Mm.
Developers will do that.
Yeah, I told her, I said, I know it's not owned by the people who are living here, so she knows that now. That's all I have.
You have anything, Robert?
I was looking for contact information, Trent.
Okay, well, if nobody has anything else, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
I
I'll
make
make
said
said
motion.
motion and I'll
That-
second.
There you go. Okay, with that, the motion to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned at 7:33 PM. Thank you, have a wonderful evening, we'll see you in November.